Council of Six sat in a dark, windowless room. They were all dressed in black, and their faces were hidden in the shadows. "Who are you?" one of the council members asked. "I am Alpha Omega," the figure in the shadows said, "and I have come to make you an offer." The council members looked at each other. They were not sure if they could trust this man. "What kind of offer?" another council member asked. "I am offering you power," Alpha Omega said. "I can give you the power to control the world." The council members were intrigued. They had always wanted more power. "How?" one of the council members asked. "I have a plan," Alpha Omega said, "but it is a dangerous plan. If you fail, you will all die." The council members looked at each other again. They knew that this was a dangerous game, but they were also tempted by the power that Alpha Omega was offering. "We are listening," one of the council members said. "Good," Alpha Omega said. "Here's my plan." Alpha Omega explained his plan to the Council of Six. It was a daring plan, but it was also a brilliant one. The council members were impressed. "It's a risk," one of the council members said, "but it's a risk worth taking." "I agree," another council member said. "Let's do it." The Council of Six agreed to Alpha Omega's plan. They knew that it was a dangerous plan, but they were also confident that they would succeed. "We will contact you when the time is right," Alpha Omega said, "and then together we will change the world." Alpha Omega turned and walked away, leaving the Council of Six to their plans. They knew that they were taking a risk, but they were also excited by the possibilities. They were about to change the world. But as they began to discuss the plan, they realized that they had some doubts. "What if we fail?" one of the council members asked. "We won't fail," another council member said. "We're too powerful." "But what if he double-crosses us?" another council member asked. "He won't," the first council member said. "He needs us as much as we need him." But even as they spoke, they knew that they were taking a risk. They were playing with fire, and they knew that they could get burned. But they also knew that they had to take this chance. They had to try to change the world, even if it meant risking their own lives. The Council of Six agreed to Alpha Omega's plan, and they began to make their preparations. They knew that they had to be careful, and they knew that they had to be prepared for anything. But they were confident that they would succeed. They were confident that they would change the world. Alpha Omega then returned to the Council of Six. "One more condition," Alpha Omega said. The Council of Six looked at him in surprise. "What is it?" one of them asked. "One of you must die," Alpha Omega said. "Your death will be a symbol of our commitment to this plan." The Council of Six were silent for a moment. They knew that Alpha Omega was serious. "Who will it be?" one of them asked. "I will leave that up to you," Alpha Omega said. "But it must be done before we begin our plan." The Council of Six looked at each other. They knew that this was a difficult decision, but they also knew that they had to make it. All were too afraid to speak. Alpha Omega sighed, then smiled while licking one of his razor-sharp fangs. "Very well," he said. "I will choose for you." He pointed to one of the council members. "You," he said, "you will be next." The council member who had been chosen screamed in terror. He tried to run, but Alpha Omega was too fast. He bone-crushingly grabbed the council member by the neck, cutting off his screams and levitating him off the ground. "Quiet now," Alpha Omega said. "The unimpaired sound of grief is a melody I prefer silencious." Alpha Omega raised his hand, and a black dagger shot out of his fingertips. The dagger was made of a dark metal fang, and it was inlaid with black jewels. The blade was long and thin, and it was very sharp. The dagger pierced the council member's chest, and he shrieked in agony. Alpha Omega twisted the dagger, and the council member's hymns grew louder. Alpha Omega then pulled the dagger out of the council member's chest, and the council member fell to the ground, blood gushing out of the wound and gargling out of the mouth, and the council member was dead. The other council members watched in horror as Alpha Omega killed their colleague. They knew they could be next, and they were drenched in terror. They had never seen anything like it. The dagger had entered the council member's chest and come out the other side. Alpha Omega smiled again, but this time it was a cruel, sadistic smile. "Council of 5, we can begin," Alpha Omega said while fading into the shadows.